Weber Wenzel, to the CCDI, to TIA, and especially to Savant Technology Incubators for the honor of being here today. My business partner Nick Nevin and I are super excited to be at the point where we're going to be able to further a product that has frustrated us for quite some time. More the need for the technology has been a huge frustration. So our product is the Smartblade video laryngoscope. Video laryngoscopy is not a novel concept. The conventional laryngoscope looks something like this. Well, this is a metal laryngoscope, and this technology has been around for almost 100 years, and it's been largely unchanged in its structure. The aim of this has been to place a breathing pipe into a patient's mouth, and what we use this for is literally to manipulate the jaw and move the tongue out of the way so that we can visualize the larynx and the vocal cords and the opening of the trachea and place a breathing pipe for ventilating patients. So all patients who require advanced breathing or protection of their airway, either in an emergency situation or during a surgery or because they're critically ill, will need one of these, and they'll need it placed. And for years and years and years, we've been largely using this. Because of the technique that's required, which often requires a bit of elbow grease and quite a lot of skill in certain patients and with certain difficult airways, this can result in a significant amount of trauma to the patient, a significant length of time in order to place the tube, which compromises the oxygenation of the patient. And in some cases, it's actually just impossible to do. And the patient may then require a surgical airway or a tracheostomy where an incision is made in the external tissue over the larynx. What we saw over the last couple of years was the advent of video laryngoscopy, which allowed indirect vision of this laryngeal opening by use of some kind of blade or a metallic or plastic structure that carried a camera in order to visualize the larynx and place the pipe via indirect vision. And this usually was done with a screen that sat to the side of the patient. We found enormous frustration. Both my partner, who has an emergency medicine background, and my background is in anesthetics, and together we had similar frustrations with the existing video laryngoscopy. Least of all was the fact that it was almost completely cost prohibitory for the end user. So I couldn't go to a medical company and purchase one for myself, which meant that, especially in resource-constrained environments, you had no access to these devices, and you were bound by your spanner, which is all well and good unless you get to a very difficult airway, or you've got practitioners that are lacking in the skill to actually provide the basic advanced life support technique. So we collaborated, and we have designed the Smartblade, which harnesses a smartphone and removes the greatest cost of a video laryngoscope, which is the screen. And this accommodates a smartphone. You would clip it in, and your light source then allows you to be able to intubate and visualize your vocal cords. There were a number of other functionalities which are currently provisionally patent protected that we addressed through the Smartblade that allow it to be used in environments that it wouldn't otherwise have been able to be used in. And the number one issue that we tried to address was the cost effectiveness or lack of cost effectiveness of the previous video laryngoscopy available to people. So we're hoping to be able to take our product and actually give it to, offer it to people in remote sites, in tertiary environments, in private hospitals, and not for them not to have to rely on these extremely expensive video laryngoscopes that often don't provide end-to-end solutions. And we also, the software will also be offering teaching potential and the ability to video conference for practitioners that aren't necessarily fully trained in the skill, but have the device and have a smartphone. So thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to seeing you.
Wow. I have to say, from my perspective, I'm very glad that there was a PowerPoint presentation with some pictures and some words so that I could understand some of these ideas. But I'm sure you'll agree that very, very interesting interesting ideas, but also the extent and the depth of the experience and the knowledge that these inventors are bringing to the party. I want to now introduce Vusi Skosana, who's the acting head of the TS Seed Fund, who will say a few words. And the MEC has arrived, so I also want to welcome him.